LBC 97.3. This is London's biggest conversation with Julia Hartley Brewer.
Today, we have what's being hailed as a great victory for safety for our children, which is a block on child abuse images on the search engines Google, Yahoo and Bing, which to tell me what you think. Nigel is in Surrey. Hello, Nigel.
Hi, Julia.
Hi, what do you want to tell us?
Well, actually, before we get into that, I was wondering who's angry out there, but I got a bit confused about that one, but they're certainly not angry. I'm a private investigator, work for a company called Investigation, but we've been involved in internet grooming since 1998, 1997, almost when the whole thing started. When
you say private investigator, so who's hiring you to look at internet grooming?
It'll either be concerned clients, it'll be concerned employers who may have somebody whom they're a little bit suspicious of within the workplace.
Okay.
Variety of reasons. I mean, we did some fairly big stuff with the BBC some years ago, which was pretty groundbreaking when the Sexual Offences Bill was just phased and about to become into law.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the big things that keep hearing is oh, it's not Google, it's the dark web, and it's which is very, very true. A very true aspect in terms of the determined thing. But the thing you've not got to lose sight of is at least the initiatives which are coming out are a start.
Yeah.
It's always worried that this is going to get a little bit lost. Just
because you can't stop every single offence doesn't mean you don't try and stop some.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be the last person ever to criticise David Cameron. Well, maybe a few days a week or hours a week and so forth. But it's interesting that he's got so much onto this Google bandwagon, and yet they're cutting police budgets, online child abuse policing budgets, and CEOPS are saying they've had to cut their budget by 10%.
And actually, these are the people who are doing magnificent work.
Who are doing the real stuff into this.
Can we talk about, how people get into it? Because when I've spoken to sort of senior figures in the units at the Metropolitan Police over the years who've been involved in dealing with this side of things, they say often it's not. People seem to think that a paedophile just exists. They come out of nowhere and they just exist. Whereas what they told me was one of the reasons why the internet is so damaging and so powerful is that you'll have someone who's just looking at pornography and perhaps finding it less and less rewarding and looking for things that are more extreme, and then they sort of try and look at images of child abuse, and it gets younger and younger, and we're looking at and there's some horrific stuff out there which most of us are very lucky never to have seen or hear any details about, but it is happening. It's happening right now, and in the days gone by before the internet, they wouldn't have been able to get hold of this imagery. Very few people would have got hold of it. You had to know someone and be involved in a ring. And ordinary people sitting at their desks at night, sitting on their sitting rooms and their laptops, are able to actually access images which they would never have been able to see 10 years ago. And so it's spreading and it's getting more extreme. Is that what you found in your investigations?
It's so true. I mean, the complete massive increase in people who are apprehended, and when you actually look at them, the serious offenders are, of course, very, very much in the small minority. And it's this kind of whole growth which is allowing access into something, whereas previously it was probably prohibitively forbidden. Yeah. Because you couldn't get to it.
Yeah.
Now, no matter what you do now, no matter what the initiatives are, okay, go and eradicate the whole issue completely. Block everything into it. The determined people will find a way, as they did before the internet and as they did after the internet.
But then that's, if it's a smaller minority, then that's... What about the issue? Now, one of the things I've always been told, and my husband, who's an IT consultant, we argue about this quite a lot, because I would say, I don't see why this can't be changed. And he always says, because all of these, search engines and these internet service providers, they're all based abroad, and most of these pornographic sites and these child abuse sites, they're based abroad, and it's impossible to police them. But if you can't get to them, then you don't need to police the sites. You just... Is this the key, the way of getting around it all?
Well, and also, a lot of the organisations such as Google are doing a lot of work in putting development funds into doing things like creating better tools to tackle the images and creating unique fingerprints of the images so that it can create industry databases. I did hear somebody saying that the real key to anything, the real key to tackling abuse, 60 to 70% or whatever the figure is of abuse happens in the home. That then spreads onto the internet because it's released into people with a streaming video, whatever it might be. Find the child and you'll find the perpetrator.
That's the key.
I'm not saying that's 100%, but if you can get to the child, it's so much more of a social awareness thing. I have to say, I shouldn't say too much, but so many of the people that we deal with, where it's a private issue, where it's a non-corporate issue, it's coming from somebody fairly close to the family.
Yeah, and again, that's the thing we often forget, as you say, when people have investigations into celebrities and the like, invariably, most of the time, the victims are actually, and the perpetrators are related. Thank you for talking to us, Nigel. Really appreciate that. 0845 6060 973. I'm not going to pretend it's an easy conversation, but I want to know fundamentally, can we block these child abuse images? Is this what's going to happen? Is this going to make a difference? Do you think that there is going to be one child who's going to be safer tomorrow if these changes are brought in today? One child, tell me. 0845 6060 973. If you were in charge, you understand the internet, I'm guessing a lot better than me. That'll make you 99% of people. Tell me, what would you do? How would you stop the spread of child abuse images on the internet? 0845 6060